Hi again from the garden. It's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. It is the first full week in September. I am out here in the garden harvesting this morning, so I thought I would just set up the camera and take you guys along and show you everything that I'm harvesting in the garden during September. And one of the things that is really growing strong is my celosia, as you can see. I have a lot of celosia that I can harvest. Now, in exactly 16 days, I have a huge market that I am doing, and so I want to make sure to have plenty in the garden for that market. But I will be doing videos upcoming to that throughout the next couple weeks in preparation for that market. But today I'm harvesting for a big order. I have 3 large bouquets to make and 7 smaller bouquets, like normal $20 bouquets. So I thought I would set up the camera, take you guys along, show you everything that I am harvesting during the month of September. So I'm going to start in the celosia patch and just work my way this way in the garden. And my dahlias are starting to put on blooms, and so I will have a bunch of dahlias to use today. So the first celosia that I'm going to harvest is this tall one. This is called the flamingo feather, and most of these seeds I have gotten from Johnny's. And I have really been loving this variety this year. It's kind of like silverish pink. I've also harvested a lot of it to dry, and so I'm really excited to see what that is like. So I'm going to get a few stems of this. Now, I have been noticing some bugs on these. I'll put the name on the screen because I put a picture of them in the Facebook Flower Farmers group, and they were the Pennsylvania something, and they are good pollinators but totally harmless. And so I'm letting them be all over my plants wherever they want to be, but if it's on something when I'm harvesting, I'm just shaking it off. So I'm going to harvest some of this celosia. Again, I want to leave a bunch of it for that market in a few weeks. There's a lot of it that's a little bit smaller that is not ready to harvest anyway, so in a couple weeks it should be perfect for this market. This one's okay. This time of day, I have noticed I also really want to watch for bees and wasps that are still in here early morning. Like, the bees tend to be sleeping this time of day. I can see a wasp right from here. The other morning I grabbed something and wasn't paying attention and got stung. So I just want to be mindful as I'm harvesting this too. All right, I want to get one more of these flamingo feather. This looks like a good one. All right, I'm going to move on to this Selway White, which some of this is getting a little bit far gone. There's one of those bugs. I'm going to pick a couple of the big heads, but honestly, I might go through here this afternoon and deadhead some of this because I want it to rejuvenate, possibly in the next couple weeks, to give me some more smaller blooms for the little jelly jar jams I'm making for this market. Which again, I will be doing videos through the next couple weeks as I prep for that huge market. So here's a good one. I think I want one more big one like that. Oh, there's a bug. Let's do this one. Oh, there's a wasp. So maybe I'll get this big guy. All right, I think I got them all. So then in the center here, there's some that are starting to go to seed. I'm just going to clip that out because I'm not going to want to put that in the actual bouquet. That's a really nice stem that can go right in the middle. I don't need it that long. All right, I'm going to get one more because I have 3 large bouquets now that I'm thinking about it, and I want them to be the same. So I want to get this one. Oops. All right. Okay, that one's not as big, but it'll work. Okay, so this is all of the Selway mix, which I have realized I absolutely love. I love the structure of them in bouquets. This one's way too far along. I'm just gonna get rid of that. But I have decided that next year I'm going to order a big mix that has about 5 or 6 colors, and this is the main celosia that I'm going to be planting. Now, a lot of this is rejuvenating it smaller, and so I do not want to take this today because I want to be able to use it in a couple weeks, but there's a few stems that are larger that I think I am going to clip, including this one right here in the front. That's a nice one. And then this is a really big one. Oh, that's really short though. Here's one. If I can get way down in there. Yep, that's another good one. I just love the color of these. And let's try to get one more. This is a big, thick one. Okay. See, this one's been growing diagonal and they're almost starting to shoot sideways. And I want to get them before they set seed. Now this is the terracotta mix, which has been absolutely gorgeous, and I have harvested a ton of this already. And this is what I really want to get big in the next couple weeks. Here is a big stem right here, although that's really short, so I don't want that. There are some towards the back. I might try to reach in here to get these. See, here's this terracotta mix. So pretty. All right, I'm gonna try and get one more in here. I just love the look of celosia this time of year too because it's starting to look like fall. Okay, that's all I'm gonna take from this patch today because I really want these to start putting on growth so I can use them in a couple weeks. So let's move on to my dahlias. All right, so this is one of my patches of dahlias, and I have organza bags over a lot of these because I'm starting to get some bug pressure the end of the season. I do not use any sprays, but I want these flowers to stay as nice as possible. I don't want any bug damage on the petals. So I buy these organza bags. You can get them on Amazon, super cheap. I have been getting either the 6x9 size or the 8x10 size. Some of them I honestly could actually put a larger one on, like some of the dinner plates that are starting to come in, but they work perfect. So let me just show you. This one is ready to harvest right here. So I tend to cut it. Like this I could have cut right here, but I wanted to go down just a little further. I'm gonna leave one of the buds on and take the other one off. And then the organza bag, I'm just gonna take off of the flower and then put right over another one. And then when this one starts opening, it's gonna already be covered. All right, I'm gonna get to harvesting. I have a few in here. I actually harvested a bunch yesterday morning, so they're inside in the fridge, but there are a few more ready. I have a second dahlia patch at the other end of the garden, so we'll be checking out what's ready in there too, but this is about perfect for what I want to go in bouquets. Oh, let me show you. I've got to get some more organza bags out here. So this is one that is not yet opened, but the whole back of the flower is completely eaten. So this one would have been a beautiful flower, but totally not usable. So I need to make sure I get out here today and cover all these buds with organza bags. Darn, that's disappointing. It's just hard to keep up on things this time of year. I have a couple of these little ball dahlias. They're called ginger willow. I got them off of the, I think Farmhouse Flower Farm sale, and they are just absolutely awesome. They are so vibrant in color. I just love them. I'm gonna be saving those tubers for next year for sure. All right, so these are the bags that just came off those flowers. I'm gonna get them right back on some of these blooms that are gonna be opening. Because this time of year I want to get as many flowers as I can possibly get. That actually looks like it might be it. Oh, I think I can harvest this one. Oh my gosh, I don't know what variety this one is, but it's going to be beautiful. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. Let me see if I can see the tag. You know, I think that this might be one of my mystery dahlias. So I ordered, it was a special sale from a flower farmer. I apologize, I can't remember who. But she had like a bag of 5 of mystery dahlias that you could get for a special price. And I think all these in front are the mystery ones. That is absolutely beautiful. So excited. So I actually think that that is it in this patch. I have another dahlia patch that we'll check. But let's move on through the garden. I want to check my Rudbeckia and then we'll move on to the Zinnias. So my Rudbeckia is actually in a little bit of a lull right now. There are some that are just starting to open, but they're just a little too fresh. They're not ready to harvest yet. So I actually may just kind of let this patch go and grow on their own. I did harvest quite a few Rudbeckia yesterday morning for a florist, but I think these blooms that are in here right now either need to be deadheaded or they need to grow a little bit longer. So I'll probably be harvesting Rudbeckia again next week. My yarrow has also been in a little bit of a lull lately, but I'm starting to get some really nice stems again. And I'm hoping in the next couple weeks I start to get a little bit more so that I can use some of this for that market. I know that I keep mentioning this market. Every week I do the local farmers market, and we are a relatively small farmers market. I sell, you know, anywhere from, usually it's around 20 bouquets, but this big market that I do, last year I did it and I sold out in 2 hours. So I need to have probably at least 80 jarred arrangements and then wrapped bouquets on top of that. And so that is why I'm really trying to watch the garden and make sure that I'm deadheading to keep things going because I want to be prepared for that market this year. All right, I'm going to get these in water. We'll keep moving through the garden. This is my patch of ageratum, and a couple weeks ago I went through and completely deadheaded this patch. It was about half this tall. It has started putting on a ton of new growth, and I can see buds forming everywhere, which is a really, really good sign, because if this starts flowering and I can harvest out this whole patch in a couple weeks, that will be awesome. I just love the texture of ageratum in bouquets. Actually, this one is ready, so let me clip this down. They are just so pretty. The color is almost that bluish purple. This is, I think, the Timeless mix, and I just really love the accent that they put in bouquets. So I'm just gonna let the rest of this grow on. Next, I'm gonna harvest Status, then we'll move on to the Zinnias. So up from my ageratum is my Status patch. I also harvested a bunch of this yesterday for a florist, and so I may not have a ton available today. Yesterday when I was harvesting it for a florist, I harvested extra, and so I actually have a bunch in the fridge, but I do see a couple stems that are ready that weren't ready yesterday. Look at that nice big stem. I just love how Status gives bouquets kind of a unique look also. Sometimes it's hard to see which ones are actually the ones that are ready. With Status, I cut down as far as possible, because if you've ever seen a Status plant, it's kind of like a flat round plant, and then the bloom shoots straight up out in the middle, and they're pretty odd looking. So I always try to cut them way down at the base. Oh, here's another one laying over right here. This one was perfect. It was laying on the ground and I didn't even see it. So I try to cut them all the way down at the base, which of course gives a longer stem life too. Oh, bugs. But anyway, I'll add this to my bucket inside and I should have a good amount of Status. All right, before we move on to the Zinnias, I want to show you a few sunflowers that are almost ready to bloom. Then we'll see how many Zinnias we can harvest today. So this is a small little succession planting of sunflowers that I did, and I can see them just starting to crack open to where I can see the petals. So I'm guessing that some of these will be ready to harvest next week. So I won't have any sunflowers to pick today. I do have a few in the cooler, and I'll show you everything that I have harvested at the end of this video, but these are looking really, really good. So next week I should have a whole nother batch of sunflowers. All right, so this is my Zinnia patch, my favorite spot in the garden this time of year. It is just bursting with color. I was in here yesterday and I harvested 35 of the Bennery's Giant Zinnias for a florist, but as you can see, there is still a ton of color out here. So my goal with the Zinnia patch today is I'm gonna harvest all of the zinnias that are ready to harvest, and I'm going to use them in my bouquets for today. Then this afternoon when it's hot, I'm going to come back out here and deadhead. I'm not going to deadhead this morning because I want to go ahead and get all my harvesting done, but when it doesn't matter this afternoon, I'm going to come back out here and deadhead all of the ones that are a little too far gone to use in bouquets. 2 weeks ago we had our family pictures taken in this spot, and I let as many zinnias bloom as possible because I wanted as many colors as possible for our family pictures. And then a couple days after that, I harvested everything, whether it was too far gone or perfect, and that completely rejuvenated this patch, and it is fuller than ever. In fact, I can still see buds everywhere, and that is the perfect scenario that I want in 2 weeks for that big end of the season market. So this morning I'm going to go ahead and start harvesting the zinnias that are ready. Now this one is way too far gone, and the way that you can tell that with zinnias is they can start getting a little bug damage on the petals, but on the back, some of the petals on the back just start looking a little bit dry. But a lot of these honestly look nice and fresh and ready to harvest for bouquets. Now I also am doing the wiggle test with all of these when you harvest. And I went over this in another video recently, but how you tell if a zinnia is ready to harvest or not is you wiggle the stem. So you want to shake the stem, and if it stays upright when you do that while it's still on the plant, it is ready to harvest. If the bloom sways back and forth and the stem is not solid, it is not ready to harvest, and it will just droop right away after you harvest it. So you want to make sure with zinnias that you have nice sturdy stems so that they don't flop. And then I cut them down probably a good at least 18 to 24 inches, because then that helps the plant when it does put on new growth. It's reaching for the light, and those stems will be even taller. So you don't want to have short stems, you want to have these nice long stems for bouquets. So I'm going to get to harvesting. I'm going to harvest as many as I possibly can. This is probably the last spot that I'm going to be harvesting today, and I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye as I say that I have some Dara ready. So let me get these zinnias harvested, and then we're going to check my other dahlia patch. Then we will go over to the Dara, and then I will show you everything that I've harvested. So some of my favorite colors this year that I have grown are this deep red Bennery's Giant, and then also the wine Bennery's Giant. Those have been two of my favorites. Now this is a cactus one, and I do like those. They don't last as long in the vase as the Bennery's Giants do, but I have been loving this deep red and the wine. There is also I think it's salmon rose one. I could be wrong. That one is absolutely gorgeous too. Here's a coral color. This might be that salmon rose. So I'm almost done with my Bennery's Giants. I need to move on to the Queen series. I grow all the Queen lime colors. Those have also been fantastic in bouquets this year. They're a little bit smaller of a bloom head, but they are just absolutely beautiful. The fading that is on these with the different like variations in color, I mean, it's just so unique. I actually have a couple of these covered with organza bags in here because I want to save the seed to try to replicate them next year. So that'll be really fun to try too. So this is my little patch of Dara that I was talking about. I direct sowed this mid-season just because I wanted to see if it would come up. Clearly it has, and there are blooms everywhere. It's very similar to Queen Anne's lace, but the flowers on this are actually like a brownish purple and huge. Look at that next to my face. Those are so big. So there are blooms all over this, and with this, just like Queen Anne's lace, you want to make sure that it's completely open when you harvest it, otherwise they're going to droop. I can also feel that this stem is almost getting a little bit woody, and so it is a nice sturdy stem. Like these are just, I mean, you can do the wiggle test with these, see how these move back, and this one moves back and forth. This one clearly is a sturdy stem. I honestly think that maybe this is the only one. Well, this one is ready. This plain white one down here. I think that these are the only two that are ready for me to use. But this patch This is going to be some really pretty accents for me, but I'm excited to use this massive one in my bouquets today. Now that I'm actually walking by this, there were some stems that had fallen over. They're a little funky, but I think they're definitely usable, and they are that all brownish black. Just absolutely gorgeous. So unique. A lot of people will go out and harvest Queen Anne's lates, which is all white, and so it's very recognizable in our area. But nobody has this growing in their garden. Oh, what a nice little bunch. All right, the last thing I need to harvest are some dahlias out of this other dahlia patch, and I can see quite a few that need to be picked. I'm gonna get these in water and then we'll do that. Okay, so my last patch of dahlias are actually right here, which you probably can't even tell because they're all blending in with the zinnias that are in front of them. I have 2 rows spaced 18 inches apart, and then the plants themselves are spaced 12 inches apart. And so I think if I can remember right, in this area, I might have a couple dozen dahlia plants planted, but there is definitely some really pretty blooms starting to come on. Some that I actually don't even have covered with organza bags, and the bugs aren't getting them, which is awesome. I do need to come through here today though and also cover this area with organza bags. Now I apologize while I'm harvesting these that I'm not telling you the variety. All of these plants are marked, but honestly it is so thick in here I don't even know if I could find the tags right now. I'm going to take the bags off and put them on other blooms as I'm harvesting these. This is a beautiful one. I do know this one that I'm clipping. I can tell that this is Cornell just by looking at it, which Cornell is supposed to be a very prolific bloomer, and by all of the blooms that I see starting, that is definitely true. Some of them are smaller, I think because they were down below and they're just not getting proficient light. We also are supposed to get possibly an inch of rain on Saturday. My cousin's getting married, so I feel bad for her that it's going to be a rainy day, but her venue is so beautiful. It'll be beautiful no matter what. We had a little bit of rain on our wedding day and it was still the best day ever. So I know she's probably a little disappointed, but I am really excited that we're going to get some rain because that's just going to give my garden an added boost for the end of the season. Okay, I do not see any dahlias over here that are ready. Oh, yes, I do. This one. I'm gonna have to set these down or something. I'm like back in here with all these sunflowers that seeded themselves. I don't know what variety that is. It's a little more orangey. It's really pretty. Anyway, I'm kind of back in here where it's kind of hard to go in either direction. I let these grow this year. These were self-seeded, and so these I obviously have not been harvesting off of, but it really has kind of built a natural wall into the garden. However, they are completely covered with aphids. They have not spread to any other plants in my garden, which is awesome. So I'm leaving these as long as I can because they're clearly a host plant. And I do not want the aphids to spread to anything else. So as long as I can get through the next couple weeks, I should be good to go. Oh my gosh, this bloom. Wow. What is this one? There's another one coming on it. I gotta show you guys this one. It looks like a stunner. I'm gonna have to do a dahlia recap video for you guys at the end of the season. I will put a close-up of this one on the screen. It's got a couple of bug bites out of it, but I think it'll be okay. It's like a champagne, but then it's developing some kind of apricot petals. I'm gonna cut this bud off because it's kind of pushing into the flower. Wow, that is beautiful. There's another one forming down here. And another one that I'm gonna go ahead and cover because those are awesome. Like when you find those varieties that just kind of blow you away when you pick them, you know you gotta grow them the next year. All right, I got some white ones over here I gotta pick. Hopefully you guys can still see me. I can't exactly tell where my camera is. Okay, so this variety that I'm cutting right now, which I can tell there are a ton of blooms on it. There are a number ready to harvest. This is a white one. Let me make sure I'm in the frame. If I wasn't, I should be now. So this is just a nice white dahlia. This is called Snowcap. This looks like a great producer. And you guys, my dahlias are really just starting. We had a really cold start to the year, which I know a lot of you did. But for me in my zone, which is 5A, dahlias are really a September flower. So this is the time of year that I'm really harvesting these. Those are perfect. All right, I got a couple more. I'm gonna grab all my stuff, go inside, and this video will pick back up inside where I'll show you everything I'm working with today. All right, so I'm done harvesting. Here is everything that I have to work with today. Here is that bucket of celosia that we first picked. Here are a whole bunch of dahlias. Some of these have been in the cooler for a couple days. One of my favorites that I'm growing this year is called Senior's Hope. Absolutely beautiful, but there are quite a few beautiful varieties in here. I also have a number of snapdragons. Here's my bucket of zinnias. In there are also those few stems of status that I harvested this morning along with the yarrow. And then this is a bucket that was in the fridge from yesterday. I have a whole bunch of bouquet for filler, some cosmos, and some more status, and a couple more yarrow. And one echinacea. My echinacea are starting to rejuvenate since I deadheaded them as well. So anyway, this is going to conclude this video. I will be filming another video when I put all of these bouquets together, so stay tuned for that in a couple days. We'll see you soon.